We've had a request as well on the best bits. So someone wants to hear you talking about your mates with the big heads.
I'll leave it, because every time we go there, we get some sort of complaint about something.
About what?
Just leave it. Well, that for some reason that always goes from the story with my dad going to Blackpool for taking those kids there.
And what kids?
And, leave it.
No, what?
No,
I don't know. There's people that know what you're talking about.
I'll tell you when we put a song on.
No, well, I know what it is, but you can't just say that.
Well,
Is it when?
Email in.
Okay? Is it when your dad put a kid in the wheelie bin because he was getting out of hand?
Yeah. So we're gonna be
can't go through it again. It's too controversial.
We're gonna. What's her name? No, well, the thing is, right. You were just saying about what are you about Christmas. That's the funny thing, right? Because in our house, there's no one who's religious, right?
No.
My dad got annoyed when I went to church that day. He was like, "What are you doing that for?"
Of course.
I went to see a gig in Liverpool. Remember the band The Christians?
Yeah.
He thought I'd join some club.
Yeah.
I said I've been to see The Christians. He was saying to me, "Man, what's he doing going out with them?"
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, because I'm not christened or anything, my mum used to say to me, "Don't tell anyone that, because there's witches and stuff."
I want to go back and see his upbringing. I just want to go back and see him at 7. One day in the life of Karl, age 7.
Just have 3 ghosts visit him tonight. And take him back through time. But we could go with him.
We can be some of the ghosts.
Yeah, the ghosts of Christmas past.
Oh,
remember this?
That's incredible. Because there's the witches. Don't tell what.
Just say
so she wasn't Christian, but she thought maybe someone could take your soul because you weren't christened.
It's like there's cults and that, isn't there? And if they find out you're not christened, then
right. I don't think they care. I don't think a lot of cults care.
Well,
but what can they do if you're not Christian?
I don't know. I just said all right, because then through that time there must have been a time when.
But hold on, now they know.
Yeah, but I'm older now, so I'm all right. She used to worry about me playing out on the street.
Oh, she was worried about when you were naive and stupid and easily led.
Well,
yeah. No. Good point. No, you're right now. Yeah. Yeah. Good. But could I just say also that I do not advocate the use of vices on friends' heads. It's dangerous. Do not squeeze your mate's head in a vice. That's just between me and Karl, and you know. And
he's an experienced annoyer.
And he probably wouldn't let me do it, to be honest. I have to offer him an awful lot of money. Also, do not smoke. There's no point. And floss. I wish I'd flossed when I was a kid. Also, if you've got a bicycle or anything like that for Christmas, please wear the correct safety gear.
Whoa.
What?
Well, I got a bike as a kid.
Yeah.
Right? And my dad, you know, I think the helmets used to come with them and what have you. I popped it on, went out on my bike, coming back into the garden. Dad sees me. He said, "Come here." I said, "What?" He said, "I never want to see you wearing that helmet again. You look ridiculous."
Oh, wow. He'd rather take the risk.
No one looks good in them, though, do they?
Yes, they do. Wear the helmet.
It's not odd. You see, there was a woman on the estate who did use... have I told you about Miss Piggy before?
No.
It rings a bell. Go on.
I think I told you ages ago. It's this fat woman who used to be on the estate. She had a 3-wheeler bike. And her husband...
push bike, pedal bike?
Yeah, like a tricycle thing, but a big one.
Right.
She used to sit her husband in the basket in the back. Cycle about, what have you.
Yeah.
She was known as Miss Piggy. Anyway.
Oh, is this the one that she used to beat him up so your dad pretended to be a policeman?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the one, yeah. You remember?
No, I don't remember this.
Yeah, she used to always duff her husband up and that, and people in the area knew that she was being a bit tight on him. And my dad went round with his mate and sort of...
But what's this got to do with the mirror?
Anyway, well, the way she used to communicate, she used to always go in quick save and nick biscuits. And if anyone went up to her to say, "Stop nicking the biscuits," she'd pull out like a little mirror out of a bag, and she'd look in it, but talk to you via the mirror.
Oh, man!
What? So she's insane.
It's weird, isn't it?
It was really weird.
Like
it used to scare me.
It's like a Salvador Dali painting. you exist in there.
Yeah. It's really weird.
So hang on. So she used to talk to people through the mirror because she was mental.
I couldn't sit, watch the telly, and look at me watching the telly in the mirror all night.
No.
You see, when does it become like bad to avoid people like that? Do you know what I mean? Because some people say you shouldn't, you know, that they're people like us who just had a bit of bad luck.
Well, of course they are.
Yeah, I know, but I remember one on our estate, right? And she was a bit... What's the word that you can use? Because I don't want to offend anyone. But I'd say, yeah, but sort of mental homeless. Is that a term?
That's the official term.
I think that is the
new official term. It's mental homeless-itis.
Right, so she lived on the estate and what have you, and she aged.
How was she homeless if she lived on the estate?
Well, she sort of decided to stay around there because I think people on the estate spoke to her more than people who had money. Do you know what I mean?
Really? I was going to say, why would she choose an estate to not to live in, as opposed to like a walled sort of lovely community?
Yeah.
Why not go to St John's Wood or?
Yeah, or I'd hang around in maybe, say, the Maze in Hampton Court.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's expecting to see a homeless person as they're trying to find their way around. Well, imagine the cash you'd make during the summer.
The rich sort of Victorians used to keep sort of homeless in there as a little folly, and they used to pay them at the end if they stayed there for like 3 years.
What do you mean? Would they pay?
It was fashionable to have a little homeless little hobbit in your outhouse. Seriously.
And what did they have to do anything for the money? Run, dance,
no, they just
fight
had to be
tigers?
there. No, they had to be there when they brought around. They go, look, that's our little catweasel fella living in our folly.
Yeah.
And then they got money, you know, at the end of it. There's just like really rich sort of Victorians and stuff.
That's a great idea. They should definitely bring that back. Because, you see, I would give a lot more to shelter and those kind of charities if I could have a homeless guy come in and do my bidding. I could make him dance.
And they had a really long beard and rags.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I could just make them do dances for me, or, you know...
And he was somewhat magical, possibly. That would go, riddle me dee, fiddle me do, what is my name, and who are you?
Exactly.
Yeah. And then,
Well, anyway, so this mental
There's a little idea for shelter if anyone's listening.
Yeah. Mental homeless woman on the estate. And what she used to do... Right, she acted quite normal, and she used to always push like a pram around with her, right? Everyone was like, she can't have a kid, can she? Right? And she was dead happy every day. She was up and down, walking up and down the road. Anyway, one day she sort of walked past, right? Turned round and looked in the pram. There was a bucket with a face on it. Right, on the estate that I grew up in, on right, there was a woman about 4 houses down. Right. Rough. Now, she used to wear leggings. Yeah. No, they're a bad idea.
They are a terrible idea. I agree with you there, Carl. If you're a lady of the normo persuasion...
Were they pink?
No, they were sort of black, but with all bits on them.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
What, toast and just horse droppings? Yeah, go on, yeah.
And she used to, she's quite a big woman.
Sure.
Pauline Quirk, I think they described her as.
Looked like a light bulb when she was
bending
over
those kind of women
leggings.
that are attracted to leggings.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
They are drawn to them like a moth.
Yeah.
She used to wear them, and that's what I remember when I read this piece, and she used to work on one of those sex line things.
Right.
She used to do that. But...
What, was she, an engineer?
The weird thing with her was, she had big eyelids.
Right. Go on.
That were too big, and this is what I was thinking.
What do you mean she had big eyelids? How big do eyelids have to be for you to go, they're big eyelids? What was she shoplifting with them? Would she come out of Dixon's with, like, radio stored in them? What do you mean she had big eyelids?
It was another one of them popular things round our way, do you know, like...
What do you mean popular things? They didn't go, oh, I'll tell you what, they're all the rage. Can I get some big eyelids, please?
No, it was just like one of them things that people suffered with. Just big eyelids, they could hardly open their eyes.
What do you mean? What do you mean? That's one of them popular things round where I grew up. People had big eyelids, they could hardly open their eyes. What does that mean? What sort of freak town were you born in? You had webbed feet people with big heads, you got women with big eyelids. What does big eyelids mean?
Are you confusing her with the horse?
Yeah. Did she have hooves? Look, what?
Just anyway, so there's this big eyelidded woman with the leggings.
And that's what I'm saying to you, though. That's... When I read that story with people with trousers, I went from that
to a woman who used to have big eyelids. I still know the point.
But then, and also the other bloke who had the eyelid problem was a mate of mine.
Right.
His dad had it, and same problem, massive eyelids.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
I used to say to my mum, I'm going round to Dave's house, and
or Drew
say,
Pig, as you call him.
That's all right, but make sure his dad doesn't take you out in the car, because he could hardly... he could hardly see. He had to have his head...
He had to tilt his head back to keep his eyelids open.
Sure! Didn't he have a couple of matches with him at all times?
What a load of gobbledygook. This began as educating Ricky.
I know,
so
it's like people with eyelids.
But it's like you're supposed to make that leap as well.
Yeah.
If I mention the trousers, Ricky will probably be thinking about people with big eyelids and women wearing leggings.
Play a record, Carl.
Well, listen, you know, we're chatting about presents and all that, and before my little thought of the day about...
It was a little thought.
Just, you know, cheer someone up if you can.
Brilliant.
Right?
I mean, it's a nice sentiment, but it's... Yeah, okay, go on.
Well, there's an old woman, right, who lives next door... Who lives next door to my mum and dad, right? And this is what I mean about, you know, the old people. They might not have that many people cheering them up this time of year. So, you know, if you can, get them a little gift and that. Because what happened was, this old woman living next door to my mum and dad...
How old are you?
This was only about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Right? And, you know, I think her son's left home, doesn't keep in touch, you know. Doesn't even phone her, I don't think, and that, right? Quite sad. And, I thought I'll give her a bit of my time, have a chat with her, try and cheer her up and stuff. And, I said, alright, how's it going? She said, yeah, not bad, I need a new, you know, dishwasher. Right? I was going, yeah, and she was saying, but I don't get a chance to get out these days, you know, I can't get about like I did. And all that, and I'm going, yeah, it's bad that. Anyway, I go to, like, one of those big superstores where they sell all electrical stuff and that, right? I'm in there, I think, oh, I'll get her a little catalogue so she can have a look, right? Got back, gave her that, I said, there you go, whilst I was in the superstore, get you a little catalogue so you can have a look at dishwashers and that. She's over the moon, she still goes on about it. It was years ago.
What, that you got her a catalogue?
I got her a catalogue.
I thought you said you were going to buy her a dishwasher.
No, just a catalogue and that.
Oh, but your life is sort of like, just bittersweet tragedy.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like something from Shameless.
I know, but it is though, because you've got in the street, and there's people knocking around with, big heads and webbed hands and webbed feet. I mean, that must have been...
Well, she's pretty weird, anyway, this old woman, because she was
And that's coming from you.
No, well, after I got her the catalogue and that, she opened up a bit, and she was saying how, you know, she's a bit odd anyway, because she woke up one morning with blood sort of falling on her head from a dead rabbit hanging over her. So, I mean, she's a nice...
What are you talking about?
No, that's what she went on to. She sort of opened up a bit and said,
What street? What street were you born in? Where is this place?
Is it Elm Street that you live on?
She just said a man was a witch or something, so it was like...
Oh, like normal. Like you said, like it's normal.
It's just a bit odd, isn't it? But, you know... I mean, but talking about, like, where I live and all that, right? One story that I've told you before and everyone's always like, that didn't happen, right? Just a couple of houses sort of down from where I lived, there was this family who had a horse in their house.
They what?
They had like a horse in their house. I'd been out with my dad, right? And I drove back into the, my dad was driving, he went back into the avenue, sort of went down to the bottom to turn round, to get back to our house.
Just via the OK Corral?
Just sort of did a little glance and I saw this horse being led in. Had a horse in there and stuff.
Well, have you been back to visit your street?
Don't really, there's no...
Why did they have a horse in the house? I don't understand.
I don't know, I think they must have nicked it or something like that. It was a council estate in Manchester and, you know, I've told that story.
They've just been doing a bit of wrestling.
Yeah, they made the horse go in with a hoodie, and they said, don't cause suspicion. Yeah. Just like, you know, we just pretend it's our long-lost brother.
Just pretend we're rehearsing a panto.
Yeah, it's two blokes. It's just two blokes in this horse. Well, that's amazing. The little old lady who gave her a catalogue. That's very sweet. You see that? And it's just a little thought. That's your thought for the day, isn't it? Just cheer someone up. So nip down to Argos. There's free ones stacked up. Go and hand them out to the elderly. They love it.
Well, here's something, right? The estate that I grew up on. There's a woman there.
Yeah.
Scruffy Sandra.
I like her already! Oh, it's great! It's so descriptive!
Now,
she had no chance, even if she cleaned up her act.
Yeah.
She'd come in looking like Pretty Woman. You go, alright, Scruffy.
No,
What's the point? What is the point?
Oh,
so the thing is, she used to always get on these buses called dialer rides that were sort of like posh taxis. You could call for one, it'd come round to your house.
Yeah.
And it would pick you up and you'd pay like 50p.
But it would pick up a bunch of other people as well.
Yeah, on the way. So it would take ages to get to where you're going.
That is.
Oh, it's good though. It's kind of a bit of a day out. Old people used to love it because you'd get to see things.
Right.
And you'd hear a call coming in on the radio that, you know, Scruffy Sandra's being picked up and you go, oh God. And she'd always have loads of bin bags with her for some reason. Now the thing is...
Well, she sounds clean.
She stunk.
Well, she's taken out the
Was
bin
she
bag,
homeless?
No, she wasn't homeless, no. She used to just didn't bath and that. She just stunk. But the weird thing is...
Why didn't they call her Stinky Sandra?
She never was ill.
Right.
People didn't sit next to her.
Yeah.
Because she stunk.
Yeah.
Now, because of that, anyone who might have had a bit of flu or a cold never sat next to Scruffy Sandra.
Right.
Because she stunk. But that was good. That was like a protection thing for her, because she knew that because she stunk, no one wants to sit next to her, she wouldn't pick up the germ.
Right. Now, but this is quite... Your point is, in order to fend off illness, you have to not bathe. And so you stink.
So you're saying that it wasn't that she'd built up an immunity, it was that she stank so much that flu wouldn't come near her.
This is such a specific example. It's not applicable in any other scenario.
There's always colds, there's always flu. It's whether your immunity is good or bad. The times I get ill are usually after like a long haul flight or something, when you're surrounded by it and you're run down a little bit.
Or maybe if you didn't bathe for 3 days before the flight.